Let me start. I'm a businessman, and my business is emotions. So I went to a business with emotions, which actually can also be called fear of emotions. And now the fear of emotions has changed. It is now the fear of emotion for me means whether I will feel that emotion or not. So it's been an interesting journey for me to actually understand this whole idea of emotions. We all are emotional people. Right now we are all feeling a certain emotion, all of us. Emotions are with us all the time. We are hardly without them. We do not understand them. Sometimes we do. And for me, all this started in my childhood. I grew up in Delhi. And I, at some point, realized I wanted to become an actor. And there was a reason for that. At that time, I wasn't familiar with the European cinema or international cinema. I was watching our very homegrown Bollywood, as we call it. I grew up in a slum. We were poor. We didn't have electricity. I saw the electricity for the first time when I was studying acting at National School of Drama. So every Saturday, Sunday, the movies and Chakrahar during that time. And a lot of my neighbors' kids, their mothers used to work in the houses. They were maid servants, washing dishes, washing clothes. So they had the access to these houses where we all went and watched movies. I used to tag along with them. And so I was driven by the emotion of cinema, and I used to love movies. And I remember once there was this movie called Achanak, Khanna film. It had no song in it, that's what the newspaper said. And I was very curious. I said, I have to see this film. And unfortunately, that day I wasn't allowed to see the film. And I was very upset. I was very angry. I broke someone's gate in Delhi and I ran away. I knew my dad is going to beat the shit out of me because that was the competition between me and my dad every Sunday. He didn't want me to see the movies and I wanted to see the movies. And from there, this whole revenge started growing inside me, that these people who are not letting me see movies on their television sets, one day they will be watching me on their television sets. That was the anger, that was the idea that I wanted to become an actor. But then a lot of other things happened. I quit acting for over 15 years and then I came back with Tara as a maker. Let me go back a little bit and talk about how powerful cinema is. Cinema, I think, is one of the most amazing art forms. Cinema is the only medium as an art form which has grown so fast within a span of 150 years or so. No other art form has grown to that extent. And not only that, cinema incorporates all the fine arts into it. So the power of cinema has not left anything. We have amazing documentaries, fiction. Cinema has been able to comment on each and every historical event that has taken place in this world. So it is such a powerful medium. So when I went to NSD, I studied acting and did a lot of plays. Then obviously the choice was to come to Bombay then. And because I grew up in a slum, I was never very confident and I had a lot of issues with my own upbringing and my own poverty and everything. Slowly I started acting and I realized that I am not a very good actor. In between there was this fear of that I will become that character that I am playing. And that whole fear was so useless. Because the fear was, what if I lose myself? It was an excuse I gave to myself that if I keep acting, I will lose my own personality. I'll become somebody else. And I didn't want to lose myself. But little did I know that actually the magic lies there only. You do not become a character ever. I play a character for you people. For me, it's not a character. that character of a doctor, of a physician, of an engineer, whatever, a politician. That character for you, the audience, not for me. Personally, I will always remain myself. It will be me, always. On screen, when I'm acting in front of the camera, it's always me. There is no character for me. I never play a character. That becomes a character after the film is completed. So through this process, when this happened, and suddenly my attention drew to cinema. I wanted to not act and make films. And then my journey took me to places like Berlin, where I went to study cinema. I spent some time in London, and then I ended up in Canada. In Canada, because I was disillusioned with this whole acting thing, this whole thing about emotions, that I didn't understand. That how do I emote? How do I emote? Everybody's liking my work, but I'm not liking my work because I feel I am not sufficient. I used to get great reviews in Delhi newspapers, but I always thought I'm not capable. I can't do this. So the fear of emotion was very powerful, and I quit acting. I became an editor in Canada, also because English is not my first language. I could not speak English when I reached Canada. So for me, the option was to stay connected to cinema, stay connected to the business of emotions. So I became an editor. During this time, I had a personal breakdown, and it was a tough time for me. I reached a point where I became very suicidal. Not on a very serious note, but yeah, it was quite close. It was a close call, and I had so many emotions during that time. It was unbelievable. All I knew that I am not going to die. I will survive. I will live. How I will live and what will make me come back, I had no idea. But because my training has been in acting and emotions, I was always able to observe myself. I could not leave myself during all the tough times. And during that time, I had an opportunity also. I was starting a coffee shop, which was a cafe, art space. I'm not a religious person. I'm not I believe in all religions. But somebody had left a book which was written by Srila Prabhupada, the person who started the Rama Hare Krishna movement. And then there was this book that I picked up during that tough time. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, my life is done, I am done. This is it. And during that time when I started reading the book, you know that whole chapter where Arjun and Krishna are at the battlefield. And Arjun says, I can't fight, these are my brothers and sisters. These are all my brothers, how will I fight them? And Krishna said that is the fight. They are your brothers. That is the fight. We have to fight. And that's when I realized I have to live. Whatever is happening, I can't stop living. I have to live. You have to fight. And I was so miserable. I was so miserable. I was begging for help. Please help me. Somebody please help me. And as I said, because of the power of emotion that I always understood through the process of acting, one day I had this thought: if there is anybody in this world who can save you, it's going to be you. And I literally stood up. And I never looked back after that. I cured myself, my business did quite well, and I basically became a new person. I kept doing it. Since again, because I am a person who observes emotions very closely, once again the life started asking questions. And I came to realize that I will not die as a film editor. I had become an editor by then. And I knew that this is not the end. This is not the end. And at that time, I kind of started looking at the options. Because I loved cinema, I bought a camera, I came to India, I started shooting a documentary in Bollywood. During that time, I met someone and I fell in love. And it became a very difficult time again. I became very obsessive and I became very possessive of that person. which created another hell. Once again, I was back to square one. I was again chain smoking. I was drinking like a maniac. And once again, I didn't know what to do. I thought, this is it, I'm gonna die again. But once again, that whole power of emotions came back, and I knew that this is not the end. Something has to happen. Something will happen. I was one night, you know how when those are the smokers who will know, when the last cigarette is gone, you're trying to get that last stub, and trying to get something out of that. And I was like, these last buds were dead. They were dead, they were black. And I took a puff and I started puking. And I was so mad at myself. I was, and it was in Toronto, minus 40 degrees outside. If you have to go buy a smoke of cigarettes, you have to spend half an hour to get dressed. So I was like, let me go to the Google. I ran to my iMac. I was so mad. I typed on the Google search bar. I'm sorry, I'm gonna abuse it because it will not make sense. I wrote, why the fuck can't I quit smoking? I wrote that. First website popped up. Whyquit.com. whyquit.com. I started reading it. It was already 3 in the morning, and I read it till 7:30. I went back to sleep. I got up again. I started reading it. It's been 15 years almost. I've not smoked because I knew the power of emotion. I was not afraid of it. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand what's going on. Why this emotion, this overpowering feeling of love for someone which has turned into an obsession and possessiveness and jealousy. Why this is happening? I wanted to understand it. Once I quit smoking, everything started changing around. And this is the time I met one of the most beautiful person. She changed my life. She was an acting teacher, but she was not a teacher. She was something else. She was a real human being who connected with so many people on that emotional level. She teaches a particular acting technique which is called Meisner. And Meisner, it's unfortunate in India, not many people know about it. If you go to a Meisner acting class, you will see two people standing across from each other, looking at each other and saying, you are wearing a green shirt. And this person will say, I am wearing a green shirt. And I will again say, you are wearing a green shirt. And this person will say, yes, I am wearing a green shirt. And this person will turn around and say, you are wearing a black shirt. And I will say, yes, I am wearing a black shirt. This person will say, you are wearing a black shirt. And I will say, yes, I am wearing a black shirt. Makes no sense, right? But this lady changed my life. I was with her for 30 weeks and I studied this technique. On the surface, it's about the green shirt and the black shirt. Underneath it, it's about you and me. As human beings, not as actors, not as characters written from a film script or dialogue. It's purely, the whole idea about acting, Meisner brought it down to a pure emotion, a pure connection between two human beings. And let me say this to you. There are very few things in this world when it comes to acting, filmmaking, music, literature. It's all about that vital connection between two human beings. Everything that happens anywhere, regardless of whether it's art or a social thing, it happens because of human connections. And it's that pure human connection that exists between you and the other person. Once you recognize it, life becomes a totally different thing. To be able to see that human connection, just as two people, just as two beings, just as two live human beings, that connection. That is what Meisner did. I understood that. And since then, acting for me is not a profession. It's not my job. I don't look at it that I am a professional actor. I I don't even see, I don't even need to say I'm an actor now, because there is enough work of mine that is out there to prove that. What I'm trying to say is acting for me is not a profession anymore. It is a way of being, it is who I am. I connect with people on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis. Also as not as an actor, but as a human being. And also when I act, for me, it's not a character I'm playing. I'm trying to see how much of a human being is there in me and my co-actor. And I don't look at them as co-actors who are playing characters. I look at them as who they are. I don't, if you're playing, for example, Monica, I am not looking at you as Monica, if you're my co-actor. You are who you are, what your name is. You're that person for me. I don't act based on the fact that now I'm a character, you are a character. So that differentiation stopped. And the whole idea, the whole fear of emotions left. You know, now I feel, if I talk about acting at times, I feel that often we actors try to go towards the emotion. You know, we try to, so I'm going to be sad, so I'm already thinking, okay, I'll think this, then I'll remember something, then I'll get sad, and I'm already preparing so much. Now the whole journey is, I let the emotion come to me, I wait that this emotion will come to me, because emotions do come to you. If you trust them, if you wait for them. So, my understanding of emotions changed so drastically, so dramatically, that now, for me, acting is not something that I get excited about. By what I mean, if I'm doing a scene, I go with this motivation that I don't know, I've not decided anything, I'll see what happens. I will see what emotions comes. I'll see what happens in the scene with my co-actor. And that has also come into my life. So there is the difference between me as an actor and me as a person has vanished almost. They're becoming one. And that's something very, very powerful about emotion. When you understand emotions, the journey begins. I feel that I met some people who did not. I met one immigration officer, and he recognized me and he said, "I've not seen your film, but I know you because everybody, you know." So I said, "Why did you see the film?" He said, "My son is dyslexic. I'm afraid that I'll cry so much. I'm not going to see this film." So, you know, there is this huge fear of emotion we all have. I wish that there was an education system which actually brought in to study emotions. I have gone on the Google, I've searched. There is very little. It is quite academic whatever is available to us in terms of study of emotions. If we study emotions, we get to the core of who we are. If we study emotions, we get to understand who the other person is. We have, this world right now needs some study which involves how to study emotions. Because we have become a world with so many different people, races, religions. There is this war going on right now outside. There is this thing that you are this, you are that. It's based on religion, caste. It's unbelievable. Once you understand pure emotions, the world will become so beautiful, because we will not look at the world from the perspective of he's a Muslim, he's a Christian, I'm a Hindu, he's a Punjabi, he's Bengali. You know, all that will stop. When we look at people as purely from this point of view, that we are all emotional beings, and we all have the same pain, that we all have the same issues that we are dealing with. This world will become a very different place. 2 days ago I had a thought, what if Hitler one night walked into his own concentration camp and realized what kind of a monster he is? This world would have been a very different kind of world. Emotions are great. They don't have a caste, they don't have a religion, they are pure. They are just pure emotions. And understanding them is a blessing, understanding them is magical. Thank you.